Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima. I just thought I'd do a really quick rant because I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to get back around to this game for the reasons that I'm about to outline. So Call Across Malice came out a little while ago and they did send me code for it, but due to circumstances at the time, I didn't really have the time to have a really good look at it. So I thought to myself, yesterday I should say, I thought to myself, my bloody internet's been down all day. So I just decided to pick up Call Across Malice and play a couple of hours of it. And, well, I'll tell you right away that it's basically just the same engine they've been using for all their Otome games, so it's kind of hard to balance the automatic text, and the volume sliders actually start way out of whack. It's really weird, like, the voices are all the way up by default, but the background music is, like, down by half, and there's another setting that's, like, way down in absolutely nothing, and yet it comes through really loudly anyway. I can't remember exactly what it is right now, but seriously, it's really weird. I don't know what's up with their engine. It really needs a bit of a kick up the arse. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the engine. We're here to talk about the actual game. Now, I've played through the entirety of Chapter 0, and I've played one of the routes, and I haven't gone to the end of it, mainly because the beginning of the game just kind of irked me. And there's a few reasons for that. Now, if you don't know what an Otome game is, and you've decided to watch this video, basically what an Otome game is, it's kind of the opposite of a dating simulator. It's a woman, you play as a woman who chooses to fall into a relationship with a number of males. You just pick one. You can't have all of them at once, unfortunately. And it's a visual novel. So you go down a series of choices where you pick one and then you just try and play their route to the end. It's a very simple concept. And the story of this one is actually kind of interesting as what made me decide to play it in the first place. It's basically, there's some terrorists who are going to do some really awful thing when a countdown runs out, more or less, and you have been stuck with a collar which will kill you if you tell anyone except this certain group of boys that you can fall in love with. So you have to try and figure out what the deal is behind the crimes and see if you want to sympathize with the terrorists or with the police, because there's this whole situation going on where the terrorists are really good at what they do and the police are not. They're never able to catch them in time, and it's gone to the point where part of Tokyo is just isolated and everyone's been given a gun for their own self-defense, and it just looks really, really bad for the police, which is exactly what the plot is based on. Really nice, solid concept they got going on there. Where it kind of falls apart, though, is the characters. Now, the woman you play is an absolute airhead. I don't like her in the slightest. She is horrendously dumb, and it takes a lot of effort to really try and sympathize with her, just because of some of the stupid things that she almost does. Like, the very first choice you get in the game is whether or not to tell the person about the collar that you're wearing, because if you do, you've already been warned that you're gonna fucking die, so I don't even know why you get the choice. It's hilarious that it's there and that you can actually do it, but obviously you end up dead and the game just resets back to the beginning. So the fact that that choice is even there is just a little odd. I guess it's just kind of something that you'd think the protagonist would be just, want to avoid, and the only time the protagonist seems to be even remotely intelligent or capable at times is when you are making the decision for her. She's a cop, right? But she gets attacked by people like twice, and the boys have to come in and save her, and it's weird. Like, she's a fucking cop. She's one of the best marksmen in the bloody force, and she can't save herself from a couple of guys trying to hit on her? It's weird as hell. Like, I'm not one to poke at, like, sexism in video games or anything like that, but it just seems entirely against the point of what's going on here. And it's just, I don't know how else to say it. It's just odd. She just seems oddly incapable for someone who's supposed to be a bloody cop. But there you go. So you're introduced to all of the characters that you're going to be, going down their individual routes within a very short period of time. Like, a massively short period. And I know that's an oxymoron, but seriously, the amount of time you have to actually learn who these characters are is so small that it has basically no effect whatsoever, if not going down into the, I absolutely hate this person and I wouldn't want anything to do with them if I were this woman sort of area. Like, there's this one character whose name I can't remember because they're all Japanese names. And I apologize for that, but I just have a lot of trouble remembering Japanese in general. I'm amazed I remember Utawara Ramono, and I know someone loves how I pronounce that. But anyway, it's kind of weird. Like, the green-haired guy. The green-haired guy literally starts calling you a, I can't remember the bloody name, a put-down. He puts you down. He gives you a bad nickname right off the bat. And when it gets to the point where you have to answer, like, the 3 questions that'll tell you which route you're going down, you end up literally getting grabbed by this guy and getting the evil stare just out of literally nowhere, and it looks horrifying. Like, seriously, it looks like a person you would want to avoid if you saw them in the street. It's so weird how little characterization that guy gets outside of him being an asshole. And the other guys aren't that much better. Like, all we know about the guy with red hair is that he's an aloof idiot who keeps porn in his bloody bookcase and what have you. There's the main leader of their group who basically you learn nothing about him. You get nothing. Except he's just a little bit reserved, I guess the word I'm looking for is. Then there's, Christ, who was the other guy? There was this special police guy who I haven't gone into yet, but there's another guy in that. No, actually, no, there wasn't. No, that's just me forgetting. But yeah, then there's this other police officer that comes in who's keeping an eye on the group, and he's the only one I actually got a real feel on because, well, A, I went down his route, and B, you actually get a little bit of extra time with him because, well, you get a couple of moments where he gets to walk home with you and he shows how aloof he is and he actually gives you a little bit of an idea about his motives and all that. And then you basically get nothing else. It's above board compared to what the game gives for the rest of the characters, but then, you know, that doesn't take much effort, if you want me to be perfectly honest. There's a few other side characters you can run into as well, like there's your police friend and your superior, both of whom you actually get a better idea of because you actually go out drinking with one of them as part of the plot, and that gives you at least a very, very slight idea of what's going on with those two. Oh yeah, there's the other guy who's an absolute fucking paranoid nutcase. Like, seriously, the art makes it look like he's gonna turn around and do indecent things to you as soon as the game is just like, oh, this guy here. It just, as soon as they introduce him, he just looks really weird. It's the sort of person you wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley. And he's meant to be one of the bloody love interests as well. It's so odd. It made it really hard to pick one of these dudes. Which is actually kind of convenient, because if you know me and these bloody visual novels, like, I always tend to go down the path of no one when I play these sorts of VNs. Like, I played Katawa Shoujo, for example, and the first thing I got was Kenji's ending, where you didn't get any of the girls and you fall off the roof. Yeah, and I get that in pretty much every single bloody visual novel I play that's like this. So, it's kind of amazing, actually, just how general I am about it. And of course it has like a sort of time paradox thing going on where shit happens in one route that doesn't happen in another route. Like, I got down the specific route for the character, for the special cop that I did, and it's like, something happens in that route when you start going down it that doesn't happen in the other routes. Like, the route that I went down, that was the, you know, the no one, you're basically gonna fucking die route. Just nothing happens in that. I kind of hate that. I would have loved a route where she took the opportunity to start hunting things down herself without anyone else's help. But no, it's literally just her, despite the fact that she's a cop, it's literally just her basically giving up on the world. And nothing happens. It could have been a fantastic opportunity to make to have a unique route that gave you a little bit of information that would have worked with you. But it doesn't happen. So let me tell you about a little bit of the route that I did play and what I implied from that route. I'm not going to say I know everything about the game based off going halfway down this one route, but I'm just going to assume, based on what I saw, that it's going to be a bit similar across everything else. So take everything I say here with a mountain of salt ridiculously large. So when you go down this route, it gives you a status screen, which is literally just you being like, you get like 4 chances every time you do a route, apparently, to increase your chances with them, and if you don't do it like 3 times out of 4, you'll just get a bad ending, and it doesn't even give you like a trophy, or it doesn't even do anything that particularly interesting. Like, the one bad ending that I saw was the guy basically getting shot. Like, it doesn't really change much, it just changes the situation slightly, and then he ends up dying because he didn't get a certain amount of points or whatever. And that's kind of disappointing too. Like, I would have loved to see a more unique bad ending, but no, it doesn't even, I don't think it even keeps track of the endings, but it might. There is a gallery menu and stuff going on outside. I just didn't have that thorough look through it before I started the game. But yeah, it's just kind of disappointing that it ended with a whimper more than a bang. Although it technically did end with a bang because, you know, he got shot. But it's just not that enjoyable. Like, I seriously, with the decisions that I made up to that point and got to that route ending with, it just isn't that satisfying to see him die or anything like that. It doesn't give me a good insight into his character. It doesn't tell me anything about the world or the plot or anything like that. You don't even get that much world building in this. But the thing is, it just seems like it's not that well written. I'm guessing that's what I'm trying to get at here, because I don't really feel any sort of motivation to actually go for the good endings. I don't feel any, and the thing is, you can actually get the good ending really easily, because the game is really open about what constitutes a good choice and a bad choice, whether it be by its style of writing, or or literally just giving you a prompt saying you did the right thing up in the top right, and then you can just hit, like, the backlog and just rewind to before you made that decision and then make the right decision. That's the only, like, there is no reason not to do that, because the endings themselves aren't particularly good. Or at least the ending that I saw. So you just end up in this position where you don't care about what really happens. You just keep rewinding and picking the right choice and going on. You do get these weird little things where sometimes you can go to a different floor of the building to see someone, or you can investigate a crime scene. But the investigation of the crime scene that I found was literally just click twice on everything and read everything that happens. That's pretty much it. I was really disappointed by that, actually, just because I ended up expecting something a little more like Zero Escape, but it was literally just like, you could have given this to me in a wall of text and it wouldn't have made that much difference. It wasn't even that engaging. And then, of course, you can sort out what the cases are doing, in the sense that you can sort out what the problem is with the cases and all that, by just picking one of 2 choices instead of actually coming to the conclusion yourself. And some of the choices that I got for the one case that I got to investigate are really out there, so it just kind of feels odd. I had trouble picking the right decision. I mean, that might have been just me. I'm willing to admit that might have been just me not getting the logic behind everything, but it just seems like a really out there choice to make with some of these choices. And again, if you make the wrong choice, you can just go back and make the right one. It doesn't really seem to make a difference. It might, but it doesn't really seem to. It probably does, because this is a visual novel, so yeah, whatever. I don't really care that much anyway. I really don't. The voice acting isn't terrible, but it isn't great either, since it's mostly all guys, and they all sound relatively similar to each other, so I listened to the voice acting for a little bit once I heard all the characters, but then I just, like, moved on, and I just, like, started doing instant text and just tapping the screen to read everything as fast as humanly possible, so the voice acting wasn't that interesting to me either. And from what I've heard, I did read a couple of reviews of this, but apparently the localization quality really drops after, like, the halfway mark. Like, they start making obvious typos and all that, and Axis doesn't really seem to be in a good spot. Actually, was it Axis this time? I know, hang on, Collar Cross Malice. I'm pretty sure it was Axis. Developer Idea Factory, Axis Games, yeah. So it was definitely Axis Games that was publishing this one, and they've been doing that a lot. Like, apparently Norn 9 var Commons and Code Realize had some problems too. So yeah, it's just kind of disappointing. Not to mention Tokyo Xanadu. Apparently in Tokyo Xanadu, after like the halfway mark, after the intermission, like even some lines were just left untranslated. I'm not even kidding. There's some screenshots out there of lines that are literally still in Japanese for some reason, and I have no idea why. What's going on over at Axis? They never seem to be doing that good of a job. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, the game structure seems pretty simple as well, but it's also kind of on the nose. Like, you know how in Zero Escape you basically have to go down all the paths to find all the pieces to the puzzle? Well, this game does that too, only since the writing's not that good, it's kind of hard to justify it. I'm guessing they used all their good translation up on the Zero Escape games. Oh man, I'm guessing that's what happened because... yeah, I'm guessing this game works the same way, more or less. So... yeah, that was just 15 minutes of me ranting about Collar Cross Malice. I didn't really like what I played of it, and I don't really plan on going back to it. If I do, I'll let you know, but, I mean, seriously, I don't think I will. I didn't enjoy the initial bit. I don't like any of the characters, including the main one, and I just find it really uninteresting. I mean, it's supposed to be a character-driven game, so the fact that all the characters suck, just... kind of unfortunate, I gotta say. Maybe I'd get into it more if I went down all the individual routes, but frankly, I don't have the time to spare because Utawara Ramono is probably going to drop into my inbox sometime in the next week, and I'm going to have to go through that. So, yeah, there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.